Hey guys, welcome back to the PixelBros. This is Andrew. Today I don't have Frank with me, unfortunately, but I'm going to be starting a new series where I teach you the ins and outs of Minecraft. So this will be a tutorial series. Specifically, this first episode is just for beginners. If you've never used Redstone before, this is the tutorial for you. Otherwise, go away. This is the very basics. The only thing that I would say is even remotely advanced is down there in the comparator section. So if you want to see the comparator stuff, you can skip to the end of the video and not bore yourself with this beginning. Alright, so what is redstone? Redstone, this red stuff on the ground, is the electricity of Minecraft. So as we can see, this power is off, meaning this light is off. If I flip the switch, that light turns on. Easy as that. Just follows the redstone wire and turns on the light. So, what kind of things can turn on redstone, you may ask? Well, first, as we've already seen, the lever. Levers can go on any side of a block, and any side of the block that's powered will send power out of the block. So that's the first one. It is just a toggle, so I can leave that on for however long I want. And it'll stay like that until I come back and switch it off. Next up are buttons. Buttons are... You click it, it stays on for about a second, turns off. They're both pretty much the same, the wooden and the stone buttons. The only difference being that you can't shoot a stone button, but you can shoot a wooden button. So the wooden buttons are great for making like an archery practice or something. Like just taking a button, throwing it on the side of a light like that, and then seeing if you can hit it. Great archery practice. So next up, we got the pressure plate family. So these are the 4 types of pressure plates. We have weighted pressure plate, light, weighted pressure plate heavy, stone, and wood. So let's talk about the weighted pressure plates first. These are the more difficult ones. So a gold weighted pressure plate, let's just throw down 3 stacks on it. You can see that it's just sending out just a little bitty bit of power. You can see it goes, well, not if I pick anything up. So you can see it goes 3 redstone down the line and then stops. So if I were to throw another stack on there, it would go 4 down the line, so on and so forth. This weighted one, need to stop standing so close. This weighted one, you can see I have all 3 stacks on there and it is only going out 1. That is because this one is the heavy version, so this one would take a lot more weight than these stacks have. Moving on, these are the older ones, the stone and wood pressure plate. These give off full power no matter what. So you can see. The only difference between these two is that if I throw something on top of the stone one, it doesn't care. If I throw it on the wood one, it does. That is the only difference. Redstone torch we're going to actually talk about a little later over there. It has some unique properties, but its default state is on. So when you place a redstone torch, it sends the signal down, lights up the light. And then we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Next up is the comparator. So, the comparator is default off, and whatever block it is touching, it is saying what is in that block or how much of that block. Or we're going to talk about it in extreme detail over here at the end of this video. But basically, I'm going to throw 2 stacks in here, and you can see this is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to take one of these stacks out. You can see it's only going 1, 2, 3. So that's basically the comparator. We're going to talk about it a little bit more, like I said. Tripwire hooks. This is one of the sneaky ways of doing redstone in the game, because this is really hard to see when these are spaced out. But it is a tripwire hook, and then string, and then to another tripwire hook. And when you hit it, it lights up from the blocks the tripwire hook are touching. And it's a full power. Next up is the daylight sensor. Alright, so the daylight sensor senses when it's daylight, as you may have guessed. So you can see it's like at a almost full power. It's hitting the block, but it's not at quite full power. It's only at full power during noon. But if I turn at night, you can see this light turns off, and it's only outputting 2. And this is when it's just starting to turn night. At midnight, this thing doesn't output anything. And in the newer snapshots, and in 1.8, whenever that comes out, you can actually right-click these and invert them, so it's a nighttime sensor, I guess. Let's turn it back day. There we go. And you can see daytime, it's lit up. Next, this is a pretty cool block. This is a redstone block. You make it by putting 9 redstone together, and it is always outputting a full signal, like a full on signal. So it goes the full length that it can. This is the only block in the game that can't be turned off. So, yeah. It's pretty powerful because you can use like a piston on it and push it into redstone and it turns on things. It's a pretty neat block. You'll find a ton of uses for it, and we may cover this block in specific in a later episode. Next up is trap chest. So, a trap chest. I wanted to show you the difference between the two first of all. This is a regular chest. This is a trap chest. You can see this has a little twinge of red around the buckle when this one doesn't. And that is the only difference. But you'll see when I open this, you can see the redstone is turned on. And so this is great for making traps and other things for your friends. And then last but not least, the old detector rail. So every time a minecart drives over this piece of rail, it will turn on and send power. Really useful rail. Alright, well, that's all the blocks that can send out redstone, I think. I never know if I've gotten them all, but I'm 99% sure that this is all of them. Next up, what blocks can receive it? We've been using lights on all of these. So let's see what all can receive power. Doors, both iron and wood. Wood can be opened normally, but iron cannot. Iron requires that you use redstone to open it. Trapdoors, gates, note blocks, dispensers, and droppers. The only difference between these two, by the way, dispensers have the ability to throw items like eggs and arrows, droppers will always drop just the item. Pistons. Of course, lights. You've seen that. Hoppers. Hoppers are a neat one that a lot of new people to Redstone don't know. When a hopper is receiving a redstone signal, it will not drop what is inside of it. So if we check the chest, nothing in the chest. If we turn off this redstone, nothing in the hopper, and it has dropped down to the chest. Pretty neat. Next up, rails. Just regular old rails. If you send power to them, they switch. As you can see over there on the side of my screen. And then we have the booster rail? Powered rail, there we go. That's the word for it. The powered rail, when it is in the off state, will stop any cart that goes over it. In its powered state, it will send it flying. See that one more time. So you can see that it's a much faster rate than me just pushing it. And then, of course, how could I forget? TNT. Yeah. Alright, guys. So next up, we're going to talk about the little nuances of Redstone. There are a lot of them. So, I've probably missed some here. Maybe not. Like I said, I was going to talk about redstone torches later on. Here we are at the redstone torch. Redstone torches, like I said, they're always on unless they are receiving power. So when I flip this on, this redstone power is coming out. It's hitting this block. So this block is powered. This torch is connected to this block. So because it's receiving energy, this turns off and does not emit power. So if I turn this off, it will emit power. This right here, this little contraption, the block with the redstone on it, is called an inverter. And we'll talk about that more in another tutorial. When you power a block, every single side gets powered. So as you can see, all the redstone torches are off, not just some of them. Because every block gets powered when you hit it with power. Or everything around the block that's powered gets powered. When you power a block that is above redstone, it will power the redstone. This kind of coincides with this, because technically, this block is below this block. They're technically touching, so that means the power will go down. Next, we need to talk about what redstone can go through. So, if I turn this power on, redstone goes up, and then redstone goes down, but oh no, this redstone's not turning on. Well, that's because redstone cannot go through a block. So if we took out that block, it'd be fine, but you put that block down, and it's no longer fine. Now, the way to fix that is that redstone can go through transparent blocks. So, glass is not the only transparent block. You also have things like leaves. Slabs are technically transparent blocks, according to the game code. Glowstone. Lamps. These lamps are transparent. A lot of things are transparent blocks. So, any transparent block can have redstone go through it. That's a very useful little thing. Alright, now we're going to talk about some of the more advanced concepts, nothing too bad. This is still I would consider this one of the nuances of redstone. So this, right here in my hand, is a redstone repeater. You can see it written down there at the bottom. Now, a repeater is necessary because when I turn this power on, this light is not turning on. Why? Well, that's because the redstone stops right here. After 15 blocks, this is 15 blocks, the 16th block is off. And it doesn't make it because redstone can only travel 15 blocks. In order to make it travel more than that, you have to add a redstone repeater. And a repeater renews the energy for another 15 blocks. So let me flip it off, flip it on, and it is working fine. A couple things about the repeater. If you right click the repeater, it adds or takes away ticks. So the farther away the two redstone torches are, the more ticks. Ticks are time, basically. The more ticks these will hold the redstone for. So I'm going to put two ticks, and you will see, let me turn it off, and you will see it, there's a delay between me flipping this switch and the light turning on. Pretty big delay. And that's what these do. If I were to shorten these, there's much less of a delay between me flipping the switch and it turning on. Now we're going to talk about one of the lesser used things about redstone repeaters. So we learned that if you flip the switch, it'll turn on. You unflip it, it'll turn off because the power goes through it. If you line up another redstone repeater to the side of it and you give it power, you'll notice that a little bar comes on the other redstone repeater. That little bar means that that is locked. I can't do anything about that. No matter how many times I flip this, this is not going to change states. Let me turn it off. This works the other way around too. So now it's on, locked, and this is on, locking it. So now even if I turn it off, it remains on. This is one of the lesser used things in Redstone, and I feel like there could be some really good, really cool things you could make with this. So I'd like to see some of your ideas. One thing I forgot to mention is that these repeaters are unidirectional, so they can only go one way. So I've put this one backwards. So if I flip the switch, the power will not go through this because it's backwards. You can always look at the texture, and whatever way the arrow is pointing on the texture is what direction it is facing. So if I face it the other way, it is just fine. Alright. Now we are in the comparator area. Buckle your seatbelts. Comparators are advanced. There's no other word for it. In this sense, they are testing the blocks they are next to. So, we've seen the hopper, so I'm gonna, I'll put some stuff in it, but you can see as you put more stuff in the hopper, it changes the output. This one's interesting. Not a lot of people know about this one, but whatever song you put in the jukebox have different numbers. So if I have Mall and Cat with me here, so I'm going to throw Cat in. Cat is a 2. It only outputs 2 redstone, so let's pop that out. Let's throw in Mall. Mall is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Mall has a 6 power redstone. You can actually make some really cool things with this, like secret bases that require one of these as a key card, or all sorts of cool things. You know, your imagination's the only limit. So I'm gonna just throw those in there. You can see that it checks what's in a chest and will output power based on that. I put 2 more discs in there. You can see it's got another, so on and so forth. Furnace for smelting. Let's find some regular old cobblestone, coal, and you can see that it is outputting whatever number of my maximum, but it's not actually outputting the maximum, because for a furnace, all 3 slots have to be full. So you have to actually have smelted something for it to be a full length. The cauldron outputs power based on how many buckets of water are in it. So it has 3 right now. I take one. Okay, I can't. Oh yeah, that's right. I need a water bottle, don't I? Take one, goes down to 2. Take another, goes down to 1. Take another, and it's down to 0 when it is empty. Next up is a strange one. Very strange one. These are the end portal stones. When you put an Eye of Ender in an end portal stone, it will output power. Like the maximum amount of power. That one's really weird. I didn't know that one. Coming in 1.8. I have not updated this server to 1.8, but they are adding, when you flip these, it will increase the power of that the comparator is putting out, so you can make some really cool like combination locks with this. I think that's going to be really neat. It's worth noting that comparators act as diodes, just like the redstone repeaters. So when you flip the switch, it will output power again, and they are unidirectional again, just like repeaters. Now for the difficult stuff. I'm not excited about this. So, this has 2 states. It has on and off. When it is off, it will compare the signal coming in from here to the signal coming in to here. If this signal is higher than this signal, it will output however many things you have on here. So if I have 2 stacks of stone on here, and I have 1 stack on here, it will output 2. So let's try that out. Inventory. So I'm gonna throw 1 on here. Just gotta aim better. Alright, so that one's on there. I'm gonna throw this one on here. So they are equal now. When they're equal, it will output power of 1, obviously. If I put another one on here, it will turn off, because this one now has more than this one. So they're back to even, and obviously if I throw some more on this one, it'll just continue to increase the power. So that is with the little button down. With the button up, it turns into a subtractor. So let's say you have 1 here, and you have 1 here. 1 minus 1 equals 0. It's outputting 0. If I put another one here, sorry. There we go. So if I've got 2 minus 1 equals 1, so it is outputting 1. If I throw 1 more onto here, 3 minus 1 equals 2. And you got 2 power here, and it is lining up. So that is your comparator, and that is your basic redstone. There is so much to learn with redstone. It is such a neat thing to have in a game. I hope you stick with me throughout the series, especially if you want to learn something. But yeah, so this has been Andrew from PixelBros, and if you have any questions, ask them in the comments below and I will answer them. Other than that, bye.